Hello and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. I had spoken in one of my previous speed builds about wanting to do a more modern home. So I went with the modern style for this home, which I don't normally build in because I think that a lot of Simmers always make modern homes. And I want to be a little bit different, and I'm not in general a huge fan of modernist style. I do like more traditional styles, but I do like to build the occasional modern home. So I went with a modern home this time. I had two ideas that I wanted to incorporate into this home. Basically, I wanted to have a two-story living room, and I also wanted to do like a two-story master bedroom where the bedroom part would kind of be like a loft, and the master bath and master closet would be like would be downstairs. So you would enter through the master closet and then go up the stairs into the bedroom. And that was really like my only kind of inspiration for this home. Other than that, it was basically just trying to build in a modern style, which tends to be a lot of squares, a lot of like straight lines, flat roof, cantilevered parts of the home. Um, so, I mean, I hope I did the modern style justice. I'm not necessarily like an expert on building in this style, but like I said, it is fun for the occasional build. Mostly because I think you can always just keep tweaking like a modern build. Like, there's so many, like you can always add in an extra column or make an indent in a wall or something like that, and it's pretty easy to build as you go with modern homes, in my opinion. And I was pretty happy with the way this one turned out. I started building it in Magnolia Promenade just because I haven't ever really built in Magnolia Promenade aside from building like a business. Um, but I ended up moving the home to Oasis Springs because I thought it fit better there. And I did end up having to change the coloring on a few things just because the lighting in Oasis Springs creates this strange effect on color where colors show up different from what their true color actually is. But I did that much later. I think that'll be in the second video. I did have to do two videos for this build because it was way too long to include in one video. The home is pretty big. It only has 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, but just the amount of space in the home and the amount of stuff that I put in the home is pretty big, and then it has a pretty detailed backyard as well. So I split the two videos up into a build video and a furnishing video. The furnishing video should be out tomorrow, and the build will obviously be going up today. But I just thought it was easier to do it that way. It uploads faster, and you don't have to sit and watch an hour of the video if you don't want to. I did use a lot of content from the Spa Day pack again, and I keep trying to get myself to not use as much content from that pack, but I mean, it's really like my favorite pack that they've done in this game, and I have a hard time not using the stuff from that pack because it's very close to what I like as my style. I did try and go with some interesting half-wall treatments on this home, but I decided to kind of ease up on them just a little bit on the outside so it didn't look like it was too much. One of the things about modern homes is that the amount of shapes, I think, in a home, the shapes themselves are pretty simple. It's just like a bunch of boxes arranged in certain ways and such. And I thought that adding too much of a difference in the half wall height was just it was just a little bit too much for this build. I didn't want it to become too busy. I did like the idea of the raised second floor to the left on the screen. with no home underneath it. And originally my idea was to do a cantilever there, which basically means that the room hangs over with what looks like no support. But I thought it ended up looking better by having like columns to support it. And I ended up putting a meditation garden with an outdoor fireplace over there. So it turned into kind of a fun space for your Sims to relax and get their zen on, I guess you would say. And then I was adding in columns around the home, which is a trick I got from Hattie Sims, and I really do like doing it. I think it adds a lot of contrast to the home, and it just makes the house look nice. I had a problem with this home where my game kept turning things black. I don't really know like what was happening. It has happened to me a few times, but it was happening a lot in this build. And you can see in the back, if I go back to the back anytime soon, it turned some of the columns in the back just totally black, which is a little weird. I don't quite get it. I did try and do like a shelf treatment on the outside, which a lot of modern homes tend to have like these horizontal planks that decorate the outside walls of the home. And so at first I did that on what is the front of the living room, and I also did it on the side of what becomes the kitchen. And I eventually got rid of the planks on the living room part of the home because I think windows ended up looking better there in terms of just the overall look of the house and the way it looked inside and the way it looked for the gallery picture. I didn't do much in the way of a front porch. I just did kind of this like treatment with the fences where it creates like an overhang, and then I put um, some, I think I put some grass. Yeah, I put some grass and flowers on top. And then I did get rid of some of the support columns on the bottom because I thought it was a little bit too much over there. I was using a lot of colors in terms of windows. I was using different windows, and the windows in the game don't really match, so there's a lot of different colors going on in the windows. Um, but they're all kind of a similar style with that horizontal, almost like a stripe effect. So, I mean, I think that there's continuity anyway, even though the windows are a little bit different. Or at least I hope it is, but I mean, I like the way it turned out, and I think, you know, having trims and columns and stuff on the side of the house, it also helped blend the windows in a little bit because you didn't see too much of the windows in any one part of the outside of the home. Um, I was finagling the back patio area, and I wanted the pool in the back patio to come up like right against the deck. Um, I'm not sure why I wanted it that way. I just kind of had it in my head that that's how it would go. And so that's what I ended up doing. And then I decided I wanted to put a hot tub in the center of the pool. So I did that, and I end up at the end, I put a ladder in to get into the hot tub area, forgetting that in The Sims 4 you don't actually need a ladder to get in and out of the pool. But I did leave grass space next to the hot tub just so your sim can get in and out of the hot tub. Because without that little strip of grass, I can't get sims into the hot tub. Um, and then I played with the pool a little bit too much, and I don't necessarily love the final shape of the pool. Um, but I mean, it's a pool, it's not that big of a deal in terms of the house. And then the room where I just put that door, that is the two-story master bedroom. And they also luck out and have the only balcony of the house. So that master bedroom is really a pretty decent master suite. Uh, you get a lot in a master suite in that one. It's probably maybe not my absolute favorite, but I do like that room just in terms of how different it is from what I normally do in master bedrooms. I used a fence again from, well, this is from Perfect Patio. I tend to use a lot of content from Perfect Patio and from Spa Day. I just got myself cool kitchen stuff, but I didn't have it when I was building this home. So you won't see any of those items in this home, but you will see them in future builds that I do. Um, but yeah, I mean, I I tend to use a lot of similar content throughout my builds, even though I try not to, just because of my personal preferences and what I like and the look of certain things. I don't really like building homes that look too heavy, and there's a lot of like heavy furniture and heavy styles, I think, in this game. And I also think that the wallpapers that they gave us in the base game are all like pretty ugly. Like, they're all kind of like grandma's house wallpapers. We don't really have any wallpapers that I'm like a huge fan of. I normally tend to just paint the houses because I'm not really like, I just don't really like the wallpapers that they have. But I'm hoping in future packs that we get interior wallpapers that are maybe a little bit better, even to use like on an accent wall or something. Because the ones they have are all either, like I said, like a grandma's house type of thing, or they're like super modern, and so they only work in a certain style of a home. And the super modern ones only come in green, red, and gray, and I'm not a huge fan of, I mean, I do like green, but I don't like the shade of green that they used. So, I mean, I don't like the color and I don't like the style, so I don't tend to use it. Um, but yeah, I did use like the metal, they're kind of like a more industrial stair. I used that for the front yard. And you end up not being able to really see the stairs that much because I did put like a fence out front, which kind of blocks your view of the lower part of the front yard. But I don't know, I thought those stairs were kind of fun to use, and I never really used them, and I thought that they fit the house well. So I did use them in this build. I played around a ton with the way this fence was laid out because I just couldn't like decide on a look that I liked for the fence. I also wanted to have some privacy, but also like not totally block the view of the house. So I ended up using two different fences to create the fenced-in area, and that's something that I do a lot of in my game, is combining fences to create like kind of my own look in terms of fences. I guess the fences in the game are, I mean, some of them are decent fences. It's just either you get no privacy with them or too much privacy and you can't see anything. So I kind of like a happy medium as far as privacy is concerned. So I tend to combine the fences. Then I painted the entire house navy blue at first just to kind of get all the walls covered and have an idea of kind of how many walls I needed covered and where. And for some reason, I feel like I can see that better if I paint the house all one color first. So that's what I did with this home, and then that's where you see me getting rid of the kind of horizontal shelves. I don't know what that treatment is actually called, like in architecture terms, but yeah, that's where I replaced it with windows and was debating on the colors because they weren't going to match perfectly with the first floor windows, but I wanted them to be close enough that they didn't look out of place, obviously. Um, and then I was, starting to add some accents and decorative details to the front of the house with just plants, and then changing up some of the wallpapering that I was doing. I wanted to create kind of like a green, eco-friendly look with this house, so I wanted it to look like I was using a lot of natural materials such as stone and wood, to accent the navy blue walls. I initially thought like the navy blue would just be a placeholder and I'd paint the house a different color, but I ended up liking the way that the blue looked. And I do tend to use this blue a lot, but I really like the shade of it. And I think there you can see that black column that I was talking about earlier, where, things in my game sometimes just turn black, and I don't know why. I don't have any custom content in my game, so I know it's not related to custom content. I don't know if it happens when there's a ton of objects in a house or what. Um, but yeah, that was a little bit annoying to deal with. I'm able to get rid of it if I delete the object and then put it back in again. But I don't know if that's a problem that other people tend to have, or whether it's a bug, or whether I was doing something wrong, or what it is. But it's definitely a bit annoying. Um, I put like that kind of double-edged trim around the whole house, and then added like a single line in black just to create a little bit of an accent and a little bit of contrast to the house. I tried a lot of treatments on the side over here because I initially wasn't going to put windows on that side of the bedroom, but then the upper wall just looked bare because the lower side does have windows, and those had to stay there because those rooms don't go all the way across. So I couldn't just put windows on another side to brighten up that room. So I did use the narrow horizontal windows that have kind of a modern look, but I ended up using these blocks as a type of wallpaper, and I think it kind of makes it look like a garage when you use those horizontal windows. So I'm not entirely sure I like the final look of that, but it'll do. It works for what it is. And I was putting in some landscaping on the side of the house, and some of this ends up getting deleted when I eventually moved the house to Oasis Springs. Um, because, I mean, I thought I moved it to a larger lot, but apparently I moved it to a smaller lot in terms of like the width of the lot. So yeah, I mean, these trees that I'm adding in, they end up getting deleted, but I mean, it's fine. There were trees that were in the landscaping of the neighborhood in Oasis Springs where this home gets placed, so they're not technically on the lot, but there are other trees in the neighborhood which I think look good with the home. I don't tend to build a lot in Oasis Springs just because, as I said, it does like change the coloring of the house and the way the house looks. Um, and I think I'm a little bit biased too because I'm not from a warm climate. And so for some reason I don't like playing in like a desert climate. Like it's just I personally just wouldn't want to live in a desert, and so I guess I mean I don't have my Sims living in a desert. I don't know. I just Oasis Springs is not really my favorite neighborhood, but I think because I don't use it so much, whenever I do go into that neighborhood, I'm just like, "Oh, like this is really cute," or like this is a really like fun design in this neighborhood, and like it kind of almost looks like futuristic and a little bit of like a like middle of nowhere side of the road diner type of atmosphere there. Um, so it is kind of fun when I go into that neighborhood occasionally. Um, Fun fact, when I first got The Sims, my first household that I ever played in The Sims 4 was in Oasis Springs because um, I have a Mac, so I had to wait a long time for The Sims 4 to come out for Mac. So when I was watching YouTubers play The Sims 4, almost all of them used starter homes in Willow Creek to start out, and I was sick of seeing those homes. So I ended up starting my game by playing a household in Oasis Springs. And now I barely ever play there. But yeah, it's kind of funny that like my least favorite neighborhood is where I first started, like my first household in this game. But yeah, that's a small detail that I just think is kind of funny. I added in a fountain in front of the house and a few different water features because I thought it was fun to combine just like the elements, like fire and water and earth. Um, and I'm not really sure that that's a modern style per se, but in my head, like it's a thing that exists among modern mansions that you would have water treatments and fire treatments and all kinds of plants and stuff like that. all in the same house to show almost like a harmony between all of the four elements, which are earth, wind, fire, and water. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that that's like a real thing or a thing in my head, but I mean, I like the way that it came out with this house, and I like having the fountains because I actually don't tend to put fountains in my homes or in my landscaping very frequently. I think because I just tend to forget about it because people here don't really have a lot of fountains, like in real life. So they're just not something that I really think about when I'm building a house. But I do like the way that they came out in this home. Um, then I colored some of the roofs, but not all of them, and I don't really know what my reasoning was for not doing all of the roofs. Um, but yeah, for some reason I don't know, I felt like doing the tops of some of them. I originally thought I would put grass on the roofs, but I just didn't like the way the green looked. There's like a grass floor tile that you can use, and it looked like, I don't know, like neon and weird in my game, so I didn't end up um, using a grass roof. I used sand in part of the backyard instead of dirt because I thought it kind of created like an oasis type feel with the pool. And then I was like, oh, I'll just like put loungers out there and it'll be like a nice place for your Sims to like, get their tan on. And I forgot that there's no real like pool style chase lounges in this game. So I ended up not really putting anything there but lights. But yeah, when I first like put the sand there, I was like, oh yeah, this would be a perfect place to put a pool chair. Um, and they don't have them, so I don't know. I'm wondering if like that might be part of an upcoming stuff pack or something. You would think that they would include those in Perfect Patio stuff. It's a little bit weird that they didn't. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would think that those would come into the game at some point too, just because we've always had them in pretty much every Sims game I can think of. So yeah, I was doing a few final like finishing touches in terms of the trim and just the coloring of the doors and such, and then I created like an archway to keep that main floor area as open as possible because I like having an open layout. But I do like in this home that it's an open layout, but there are still very separate spaces. I think the one thing that I really should have done a better job um, planning for and including was a dining room. The dining table ends up getting stuffed into the kitchen, so it's not really the best scenario, but uh, that's that's just the way it turned out. Um, and then, having two staircases, I had to remember to put railings on both staircases. I do end up changing the entrance to the master's suite just a little bit, but I didn't do that until I started building the kitchen because I just didn't really like realize like it seemed like the master suite was too much a part of the kitchen when I started furnishing it, so I did end up adding a little bit of like a hallway there into the master suite. And then we have this nice little loft upstairs by the kids' bedrooms, and I have a fireplace outside and in the meditation garden, and then I built up like using the rock coffee tables and then the rocks from the landscape design. I used that to build kind of like a rock fireplace, and I was a little bit worried when I was doing this that it would catch on fire, but I have play tested this home and I left the fireplace on all night and nothing caught on fire. So hopefully it works for your Sims too, and it also doesn't catch on fire. But yeah, I mean, I thought that was kind of a fun thing to add in, and then I did add in like some rock fountains on the side, which I actually, like, when I put them in, I didn't realize that they were working fountains, but then when I play tested, like, there was water running down them, and it looked really cool and relaxing. But yeah, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed this. Please give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and remember to subscribe to my channel, and I will be back soon with the second half of this video.